Hey everyone, it's the Duke of Early Retirement here, and today I'm talking about 4 financial moves that I'm making before the end of the year. And these are moves that you might want to consider too. The first move I'm making is to maximize my 401k and 457 contributions. Now, my goal is to get as much money into these accounts as possible because they're a great way to save for retirement. I love that these accounts are tax advantaged and that they are automated. And if your employer offers a match, it's like free money on the table right there. So make sure you're contributing enough to get the full match this year because that's your money that will simply go away if you don't contribute enough to get the full match. Now, keep in mind you only have until the end of the year to contribute to these accounts, so it's important to take action before then. And if you can't max out your contributions this year, don't worry about it. Contribute what you can and set a goal to save a certain percentage or dollar amount for 2025. Because planning ahead for next year is often more effective than trying to cram all your contributions in at the last minute. Now, while we're on the topic of retirement accounts, let's talk IRAs, which are also a great place to save, especially the Roth IRA. But you don't have to contribute to Roth IRAs by the end of the year. Personally, I usually wait until closer to tax time in April to contribute to my IRA, and that way I have a better idea of what my tax situation is before I contribute. The next financial move I'm making is to make sure I max out my health savings account, or HSA. Now, an HSA offers triple tax benefits. Contributions are tax deductible when they go into the account, the investments inside the account grow tax-free, and then withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are also tax-free. So potentially you could have income that's never taxed at all using this awesome account. Now, for me, the strategy with an HSA is to pay my medical expenses out of pocket right now and let the HSA funds grow long term. I make sure that I save any receipts for medical expenses, anything that could be HSA approved. And later on down the road, I've got those receipts so I can pull that money out anytime tax free. Now, if you can afford to do it that way, it's a great way to not only save for healthcare costs in the future, but to boost your retirement savings. If you don't use all the money in an HSA for qualified medical expenses, when you turn 65, it turns into basically a traditional IRA where you take the money out, you do have to pay taxes on it, but there's no penalty or anything. So HSAs, triple tax advantaged, great accounts, and you only have till the end of the year to contribute to one, so make sure to contribute and max it out if you can before the end of the year. Financial move number 3 is to realize gains and losses intentionally. Now, this is also related very much to taxes. And this is a big one for me right now. First of all, if you have taxable accounts, this is the time to assess any realized gains or losses that you might have in the year. Now, given that 2024 has been a bullish year for most investments, I'm probably looking at more gains than losses. Maybe you are too, but I'm still going to check my portfolio to see if there are any opportunities to harvest gains or losses. And if you don't know, tax gain harvesting is when you sell investments intentionally at a profit to take advantage of lower tax rates. This can be particularly useful if you're in a lower tax bracket. Tax loss harvesting is just the opposite. You sell investments at a loss to offset other capital gains that you may have in the current year or even in future years. And this can help lower your overall tax burden. And if you have more losses than gains, you can deduct up to $3,000 of those losses against ordinary income in a given tax year. Also, if you have losses from previous years, you can carry them forward and apply them to the current year, which is a great way to reduce your tax bill if you've got gains to offset. Another thing I'm doing this year to realize gains intentionally is Roth IRA conversions. Because I'm in a lower income tax bracket this year than normal, and so I've done my first ever actual Roth IRA conversion where I intentionally convert pre-tax money that I have in a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, intentionally pay those taxes on it this year because I'm in that lower tax rate. Better to pay the taxes now and let that money grow in the Roth than have to convert the money or withdraw the money down the road when I might be in a higher tax bracket. And the fourth financial move I'm making before the end of the year is to take a hard look at my portfolio and rebalance it as necessary. At the end of the year is a really good time to do this, especially when the market's up as it is right now, because it's easier to make logical, unemotional decisions when the market is doing well, as it has been. Rebalancing means ensuring your asset allocation aligns with your goals, your risk tolerance, and the market conditions. Now, with the possibility of continued volatility and uncertainty in 2025, especially considering political factors like this second term for Trump, well, I'm making sure that my portfolio is balanced appropriately for whatever comes next. For example, I have 20% of my portfolio in non-equity assets and 80% in equities. And that breaks down further into about 15% bonds and 5% cash. Now, why do I bother with these bonds and this extra cash cushion at all? Well, it provides stability and acts as a buffer if the market takes a downturn. Not only does it stabilize the portfolio, but it also gives me some dry powder to work with if the market does take a dive. And I can then basically buy low by taking some of those bonds or the cash and buying more equities. But I do have a lot of equities. 80% is a pretty aggressive allocation. And the reason I don't have a higher allocation to bonds in my portfolio is because I'm going to be getting a pension in the future. And I do consider this pension a source of additional stability. Now, you might have a different allocation, and that's perfectly fine. And if you're young and it's 100% stocks, I totally get it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do want you to take the time right now to assess what allocation is right for you, because the market is at or near all-time highs right now. And I want you to think about how you would feel if the market drops 20 or 30% next year. Not saying it will, but it could, right? And if you're 100% stocks, are you okay with that? And it doesn't just have to be about stocks versus bonds or preparing for a market dip. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Do you have Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies in your portfolio? And if Bitcoin continues its meteoric rise, will you regret not putting even just a small portion of your portfolio into Bitcoin? At the end of the year is a great time to make those tough decisions, assess your overall strategy, your overall portfolio, and determine your asset allocation while markets are calm, and rebalance as necessary, because that's the time to do it. Not wait for a financial shitstorm to come your way and then decide that you want to change your asset allocation. Now, I'm not here to tell you what your asset allocation should be. I can tell you that my allocation is very simple. I'm 80% equities, 20% bonds, and actually then within the bonds, I've split that up 80-20 so that 80% of my bonds are truly bonds and 20% are short-term cash equivalents. So it's more like 80% equities, 15% bonds, 5% cash. And then within the equities, I've got 80% of my equities in US and 20% in international. I call this the 80-20 portfolio or the Pareto portfolio, and you can learn more about that in this video, which I'll link to right here. So those are the 4 financial moves that I'm making before the end of the year: maximizing 401k and 457 contributions, maxing out an HSA, realizing gains and losses intentionally, and rebalancing my portfolio. Now, these are all simple but powerful moves to end the year on a high note and set yourself up for success in 2025, no matter what it may bring. Now, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what financial moves are you making before the year ends. I'd also encourage you to check out this video for more about my investing philosophy, the way I invest, and as always, thanks for watching.